3 weeks ago, my brother had $47,000 in his Coinbase account. This morning, he has $1,200. He didn't get hacked. He didn't make a bad trade. He did exactly what every crypto influencer told him to do, and it destroyed him. Bitcoin dropped 45% from its all-time high. But here's what nobody's telling you. Bitcoin didn't crash. My brother got liquidated. And if you don't understand the difference between those two things, you're about to learn why 90% of people lose money in crypto, even when they're right about the direction. If you think this is just another Bitcoin crashed story, you're missing the entire point. This isn't about Bitcoin going down. This is about the hidden mechanism that turned a 20% dip into a 96% account wipeout. Subscribe now, because what I'm about to show you is why retail investors get destroyed while institutions walk away richer. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me rewind to where this started. December 2024. Bitcoin hits $108,000. My brother calls me excited. I'm finally doing it. I'm going all in on Bitcoin. I asked him, how much are you putting in? $40,000. Everything I saved this year. Okay. Are you buying spot Bitcoin or using leverage? Pause. What's the difference? That sentence cost him everything. Because here's what he didn't understand. When you buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, Kraken, or Binance, you have two options. Option 1, spot Bitcoin, you buy the actual Bitcoin. Price goes up 10%, you make 10%. Price goes down 10%, you lose 10%. Simple. Option 2, leverage Bitcoin, you borrow money to control more Bitcoin than you can afford. Price goes up 10%, you make 50 to 100%. Price goes down 10%, you lose everything. My brother chose option 2. He didn't even know it. The sales pitch, here's what the platform showed him. Trade Bitcoin with up to 10x leverage. Maximize your gains. Professional traders use leverage. Why shouldn't you? It sounded smart. Everyone on Twitter was talking about leverage trading. Every crypto YouTuber was using it. So he clicked 10x leverage. Put in his $40,000. And now controlled $400,000 worth of Bitcoin. He was about to learn the most expensive lesson of his life. Here's what happened. Bitcoin was at $105,000 when he bought in. He used 10x leverage. That means, he put down $40,000, he borrowed $360,000 from the exchange, he now controlled $400,000 worth of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin went up 10% to $115,500, he'd make $40,000 profit, 100% gain on his money. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the trap. If Bitcoin went down 10% to $94,500, he'd lose $40,000, 100% loss on his money, and the exchange doesn't wait for you to lose everything. They have a safety mechanism called a margin call. The margin call, when your position drops a certain amount, usually around 8-10%, the exchange automatically sells everything you have. They don't ask. They don't warn you. They just liquidate. Why? Because you're trading with their money. If they let you lose too much, you can't pay them back. So they close your position to protect themselves. Not you. Themselves. What happened to my brother? Bitcoin dropped from $105,000 to $95,000. That's a 9.5% drop. For someone who bought spot Bitcoin, that's a 9.5% loss. Annoying but survivable. For my brother with 10x leverage, he got liquidated. His entire $40,000 was gone. And Bitcoin only dropped 9.5%. Not 50%. Not 80%. 9.5%. That's the liquidation trap. The death spiral. But here's where it gets worse. My brother wasn't the only one. Thousands of people were using leverage on Binance, Kraken, BitMEX, Bybit. When Bitcoin started dropping, they all got margin called at the same time. Their positions were automatically sold, which pushed the price down further, which triggered more margin calls, which forced more selling, which pushed the price down even more. On January 30th, 2025, $2.1 billion in leveraged Bitcoin positions were liquidated in one day. $2.1 billion in one day. This is why Bitcoin crashed 18% in 8 minutes. It wasn't people losing faith in Bitcoin. It was automatic liquidations creating a death spiral. And my brother was one of them. Now here's the part that made me furious. Because when I asked him, why did you use leverage? He said, everyone else was doing it. I thought that's just how you trade crypto. And that's when I realized he was never taught the difference. Let me show you why platforms push leverage so aggressively. Because it's not about helping you make money. It's about making money from you. The business model when you use leverage on Binance or Kraken, here's what happens. You pay Trading fees 0.1 to 0.5% per trade. Borrowing fees, interest on the money you borrowed. Liquidation fees, when they close your position. The exchange makes money on all three. And here's the brilliant part. They make more money when you lose. Why? Because when you get liquidated, they take your entire position, the liquidation fee, the spread, the difference between buy, sell price. Then they sell your Bitcoin to the next person. You became their inventory. The statistics want to know how many people make money with leverage? According to data from major exchanges, 76% of retail traders lose money using leverage. The average leverage position lasts less than 24 hours. 90% of leverage traders are gone within 90 days. This isn't investing. It's a casino where the house always wins. And the house is the exchange, who actually profits. While retail investors like my brother were getting liquidated, institutions were buying. MicroStrategy bought 5,000 more Bitcoin during the dip. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF IBIT saw $340 million in inflows the day after the crash. Grayscale increased holdings by 8%. They weren't using leverage. They were using cash, buying from people who were forced to sell at a discount. This is the wealth transfer from emotional retail traders to patient institutional buyers. My brother funded their discount. Now let me show you what he should have done. Because the difference between losing everything and building wealth isn't intelligence. It's understanding the rules of the game. Here's what I told my brother after he lost everything. Rule 1. Never use leverage. If you can't afford to buy Bitcoin without borrowing money, you can't afford Bitcoin. Period. Leverage isn't a tool for retail investors. It's a trap designed to separate you from your money faster. The exchanges know this. That's why they market it so aggressively. Rule 2. Dollar cost average. Instead of putting $40,000 in all at once, here's what he should have done. Invest $500 to $1,000 per week for 40 weeks. Why? Because it removes emotion from the equation. Bitcoin at $105,000? You buy. Bitcoin at $95,000? You buy. Bitcoin at $85,000? You buy. You're not trying to time the bottom. You're just accumulating over time. And here's the math. If Bitcoin dropped 45% and he was dollar cost averaging, first 10 weeks, he'd buy at higher prices, small loss, next 15 weeks. He'd buy during the dip, huge gains, last 15 weeks. He'd buy at recovery prices, moderate gains, he'd still have all his money. And he'd own more Bitcoin than if he'd bought at the top. Rule 3. Separate accounts. I told him, never keep your Bitcoin on the exchange where you buy it. Why? Because if it's there, you'll be tempted to trade it, to leverage it, to just try once. Instead, buy on Coinbase or Kraken. Immediately transfer to a cold wallet like Ledger or Trezor. Out of sight, out of mind. Can't get liquidated if it's not on an exchange. Rule 4. Position sizing. This is the rule he ignored completely. Never invest more than 5 to 10% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin can drop 50 to 80% in a year. And if that's 100% of your money, you're wiped out. But if it's 5 to 10%, it hurts, but you survive. My brother put 100% of his savings into leveraged Bitcoin. That's not investing. That's gambling. And the house won. Now here's what nobody tells you about Bitcoin crashes. And this is the part that changes everything. Bitcoin has crashed before. Many times. And every single time people said, this time is different. It's going to zero. The bubble finally popped. Let me show you the history. 2011. Bitcoin dropped 99% from $32 to 1 cent. Everyone, it's dead. 2013. Dropped 83% from $1,150 to $195. Everyone, told you it was a scam. 2017. Dropped 84% from $19,500 to $3,100. Everyone, this time it's really over. 2021. Dropped 53% from $64,000 to $30,000. Everyone, the bull run is done. 2022. Dropped 77% from $69,000 to $15,500. Everyone, crypto winter is permanent. And yet, Bitcoin came back. Every single time. Not because it's magic, but because the people who understood the cycle kept accumulating, while everyone else panic sold. The 4-year cycle. Here's the pattern. Year 1. Accumulation, prices low, nobody cares. Year 2. Growth, prices rising, some interest. Year 3. Mania, prices parabolic, everyone buying. Year 4. Crash, prices collapse, everyone selling, then repeat. We're currently in year 4, which historically means Prices will stay low for 12 to 18 months. Everyone will say it's over. And then quietly accumulation starts again. This is where fortunes are made. Not during the hype, during the despair. But here's what is actually different in 2025. 1. Institutional adoption. BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale now have Bitcoin ETFs. Billions of dollars flow through these. They're not going anywhere. 2. MicroStrategy owns 3.4% of all Bitcoin. Michael Saylor isn't selling. He's buying more. Even underwater. 3. Countries are accumulating. El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. Bhutan is mining Bitcoin. Rumors of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. 4. The dollar is weakening. Long-term. Short-term, the dollar strengthened, which hurt Bitcoin. But long-term? $36 trillion in U.S. debt. Money printing inevitable. Bitcoin positioned as inflation hedge. What this means: Bitcoin might drop to $60,000, $50,000, even $38,000. But the infrastructure around it is stronger than ever. The question isn't, will Bitcoin recover? It's, how long will the bottom last? And that's the opportunity. After losing $47,000, here's what my brother is doing now. Step 1. He got a second job, not glamorous, but necessary. He's rebuilding his savings. $500 per week going into a separate account. Step 2. He's dollar cost averaging $100 per week, not $40,000 all at once. $100 per week into spot Bitcoin, no leverage. On Coinbase. Then immediately transferred to his Ledger wallet. Step 3. He's treating it like a 10-year plan, not a get-rich-quick scheme. A long-term accumulation strategy. Buy every week. Don't check the price. Don't trade. Just accumulate. The result: in 2 years, if Bitcoin goes to $150,000, he'll have recovered everything he lost and learned the lesson without going bankrupt. That's the difference between gambling and investing. One destroys you. The other teaches you. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Bitcoin didn't crash. Leverage crashed. Bitcoin dropped 45%. But my brother lost 96%. The difference? He was playing a game he didn't understand, with rules designed to take his money. And he's not alone. Thousands of people lost everything in January 2025. Not because Bitcoin failed, but because they used tools designed to liquidate them. The institutions knew this. They were waiting for it. And when retail panic sold at the bottom, they bought. That's the game. And now you know the rules. Stay here. This channel exists so you don't learn these lessons the hard way like my brother did. If this story resonated, leave one word in the comments: liquidated. And subscribe. Because Bitcoin will recover. The question is, will you still have money when it does? My brother lost everything using leverage. But he's rebuilding the right way now. Slowly. Patiently. Without borrowing. And when Bitcoin hits $150,000 in 3 years, he'll be there. Will you?